Hey, my name is Cole Lindsay. My wife Tatiana and my two little girls, Olivia and Isla, joined at first recently, and just wanted to share some things about my life and about how God has been faithful to me. And really, it breaks down into kind of three areas for me. And the first is my childhood and actually childbirth. I was born at meconium birth, which, if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. But I pretty much made a mess of things right away from the get-go in my life, and it kind of played out for me that way for many years to come. But I was a 50-50 chance of living and dying as a newborn, and I was in the ICU for 2 to 3 weeks. So God was faithful in keeping me alive. And as I went through my childhood, I had a pretty wild upbringing and a lot of freedom, and made a lot of bad decisions. And as I turned a teenager, those decisions kind of got more and more reckless. I really didn't know the Lord. I didn't have a relationship with God at the time, but God was always calling me. As a 15-year-old, I got in my first trouble with the law, and every year after that, until I was 20 years old, I had some encounter with the police, some sort of arrest, some kind of shenanigans. But at each encounter, I can look back and see that God was actually tapping me on the shoulder and calling me. But at that age of about 20 years old, I had gotten in so much trouble that I wound up going to prison for 2 years. And in that time, I really became a broken follower of Jesus. And that's when God, I would say, converted me. And it began to be a journey for me as a converted man, but yet someone who didn't really know the Lord yet, didn't really pursue God or know how to pursue God. And that was kind of the next chapter in my life, was being a young man, stepping into the world, knowing that there is a God, knowing that God loves me, knowing that God is faithful, but then having to learn how to pursue God. And there was a lot of stumbling in that time for me, but God was always there, and God was always faithful, especially in the third area of my life, which is in my marriage, when God, out of nowhere, for no explanation that I can think of other than that He loves me, He presented me with my wife and changed my life forever. God was really faithful in that time for me. So, after having gotten married and just being totally in love and so grateful, God started working on me again, because marriage is hard, really hard, as we know, and just revealing all these layers in my heart and working on me, and just really developing this man that I'm becoming. And it's just beautiful to see how God has been faithful every step of the way in my life. And now I get to look at my children and see the beauty in creation and just in God's love for us. And that's how God's been faithful for me. Thank you.